Hey y'all, this is Vince Nguyen, your local real estate broker here in Portland, Oregon. If you like the content, give us a like and then subscribe for additional content. Today's topic, we'll be talking about Notion. All right, so backstory on why Notion. So I came into uh, doing this business and building this business on Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets, Calendar, note-taking tools, ChatGPT, website tools, project tracking. We got planning docs, we have process docs, we have expense docs. All these tools are amazing. However, they were not in one place. So I spent about 2 days being convinced by one of my teammates, Daniel Yoon, and he gave me a bit of a sales pitch, and I finally took the leap, took a look at it, and then been building it. So that's where we're at. Let's kind of go into the presentation and see what it looks like. All right. Thanks, Julie, for joining in today and spending a little bit of time with me. I really want to appreciate your time here today just to allow me to show you what Notion is about and show you how I've been building it for my real estate business. All right.
Thank
So,
you.
just a couple of things to show you to start is this Notion tool. This is kind of their main page if you do sign up for it. You can write, you can plan, you can share, and it has AI integrated. And kind of a couple things that like come with it stock are like wikis, projects, and docs. So scrolling down a little bit, it does give you a little bit of a sample of what it looks like. Um, but we can just log in and take a look at it for ourselves. So like once you log in, the initial things that you see are like pre-built projects and to-do lists. You have some wikis that you can just write information about. You have kind of a meeting tracker, and like the cool thing about like a lot of these, for example, like the meetings, you have it in this form where it's like a table form. But if you like it in a calendar form, you can switch to a calendar form, and all that information gets ported over into this view. You can do it by types, which for a lot of people, this is like a Kanban look. And then you can have it like in this form. And you can create like other forms and different ways to see this as well. But like these are kind of the pre-built ones. And then if you create any docs, you can create it here and it kind of looks like this. So they have a couple of templates for you here, obviously. You got problems, proposals, plans, and then once again, just other templates. But when it comes down to it, you can do whatever you were really looking for. Um, it's fairly easy. So something that like other tools don't have is this AI feature built in. So you can ask AI for anything realistically. For example, you can ask AI to create a table to track my fitness, making sure to include activity, times spent, and body part. And so you're going to ask AI to create this for you, and AI creates this table for you. So, however advanced it becomes, like the result is all dependent on like how well your prompt is built. But yeah, you can just easily create something like this and AI will do it for you. Think of it like a personal assistant, right? Do you have any questions so far?
What is the primary usefulness of Notion? What is it really built to do?
Note tracking is like the first thing that is for. And then they kind of added on top of that various ways to really do notes, right? Like docs is like what you see here. And then you can actually do notes within, for example, meetings. So say we go back to meetings and we create meeting with Julie. And then once we create that, we can open up this meeting and then we can start entering more information about this meeting, right? Meeting topic, Notion. And then once again, like that great, really cool tool is this, right? So have this really AI to really do anything. So for example, maybe I can just add a few things that I already have. So I can add like this information in here. And let me see if AI can do this. So I'm gonna ask AI to summarize the notes above for me. So like that. Or I can say AI put the notes above into a table format for me. So you have like think of it like a personal assistant that you have alongside with you, along with the ability to really track your notes, track your meetings, and then build out wikis. Wikis, like think about it almost like a website, right? And then you have this project tracker tool. And I would say like the project tracking tool is very it can be very complicated to simple. You can do this little to-do list, right? Very simple. I got this task. I got like whoever is assigned to do this. I got the due dates, and then I have whether it's done or not, right? Check or uncheck. And you can go with a little bit more complicated. And so you do projects and tasks. So you have a project name, getting started with a project, and then you have task underneath of it. And then you do kind of where you include sprints as well. So a little bit more for engineering. You hear sprints all the time with engineering. So like you have a couple sprints that's attached to like each of the projects. So on top of that, once again, you have the AI tool that will allow you to have an assistant to do particular tasks for you.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let me show you my business and where that is at this moment. All right. So I took that Notion gave me and I built it into this. So hopefully this will give you a little bit more idea of like what Notion can do for you and like how you can make it work for you. So this is my business. This is my business for real estate. I kind of outlined it on the left side, and this page I outlined it in for company overview. I have objectives. I have the 2024 vision. For the processes, I have lead generation. I have the playbook. I have a list of clients, and then I have all the expenses associated with my business. And then I have the team directory. I have my public facing profiles for this business. So, for example, my TikTok account, my Facebook account, my Twitter account, agent resources. So all the links that I need to run this business. For example, the login page for my business, the login page for EXP, the playbooks, the RMS links, all of that. And then I added an investor relations section. So this forces me to be accountable for this business when I do like at the end of the year I have to say like, hey, this is where I'm at, like speaking to like a board almost, right? This is where I'm at, this is where I'm trying to go, and like these are the obstacles we've been facing as a business. So that's where I'm gonna have like that piece of information. It's just kind of company value for this business. I started with trust, number one priority, communicating openly and maintaining confidentialities. Customer success is really the second part here, being obsessed and ensuring the success of the customer. Innovation, leveraging the latest tools and technology really to meet the goals of our business. And then equality, making sure that everyone within the business and partners are treated equally and treat anyone differently in that case. And then sustainability, making sure that we can survive long term and we focus on the long term, and that will keep us sustainable. Just a big chunk of information for context is the market that we'll be focusing on. We'll be somewhere around these demographics, but I wanted to define the demographics on here between Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, baby boomers. And I think the key part on this piece is where they spend most of their time when we're talking about social platforms. So for Gen Z, most of their time is spent on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. For millennials, is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And then for Gen X, we got Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. And then for baby boomers or older, Facebooks, and then WhatsApp. I think this helps realistically to narrow down the focus once I have to decide as a business, right, where like what kind of price range of the houses I'm focusing on, and how I want to reach the clients, and what kind of clients are going to want those houses. Uh, the key item and key thing when we're having this conversation about this business is that I am really looking at it as if I am an employee of this business, not so much that I am the owner of this business. So I have to be an employee and I'm running this business and I'm doing everything that I need to make sure that this business succeeds. Questions on that?
Nope.
All right. All right. So just first thing when it comes to objective, and I'm not going to go into details about it. Number one objective is to set up the business. Number one task is to generate the leads. And then number three task is to help our clients succeed. Right now, we have completed the first objective. And we're going to kick off the generation of leads starting on the 1st of January. So in 2 days here. And so, yeah. I think I can kick into kind of that lead generation part then. So my thought on the lead generation, and this kind of outlines a little bit of the full process, is not fully built yet, but at least anyone looking at it will have a bit of an idea. But overall, it's all about KV Core. So KV Core, it's really a CRM system, an automated system, a prospecting. So the idea of it is like KV Core can text clients, they can email clients, they can send clients a list of things that they're interested in based on the settings that we put in. So we have a bunch of like social medias and a lot of ways that we're going to funnel everyone into KV Core. But the process is every single interaction, whether it's my own personal interactions, it's whether on Facebook, it's going to be on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, they're all going to get funneled into KV Core. And KV Core is going to take the client, it's going to figure out what they're going to need. So that's going to be a bit of a manual process at this point, but we will figure out exactly what's needed, and then we'll plug them in the system. KV Core will work with the clients. Once they're kind of at the point where they go from a lead to more of a prospect, then we're gonna start engaging with them a little bit more. And so that's gonna come into like a discovery call with them, and we'll talk with them. We'll see what they're looking for. We'll see if it's a good fit, and if we're a good fit, then we can move into really signing up and making them a client of ours. I would say like this playbook part is a bit of that on like once they become a prospect, what we'll do. I would say like once they become a prospect, it becomes this kind of part where we go into that needs assessment, which is what I talked about. With KV Core, like if you ever paste like a document or a picture, it creates a doc. So for example, like I pasted this picture, instead of it pasting this picture onto this doc directly, it creates this doc. So it's kind of nice. So I can click on it, I can see this doc separately, and it doesn't take a lot of space on my main page. Very easy to do. And then like to move forward a little bit on the vision itself of this business is we're looking for a production of about $550,000 of annual income. So this probably comes out to about $400,000 after taxes if we can find ways to cancel out a lot of our taxes. And how we'll break that down is that we need to sell 28 houses. And each house we're aiming for about $650,000 at 3% commission. And things that we'll focus on, at least for the coming year, is creating a social media content skill base. And we'll be creating about 52 YouTube house tours. We'll try to hit 100 subscribers. We'll try to hit 500 likes. We'll try to hit 50 comments. And then we're going to be an expert at KV Core, that CRM system of ours. And it will be an expert at virtual tours. A little bit like just a picture of some goals for the year, having a house, making deals, paying everything off, and then building more on the side, or in the front side, getting more subscribers, taking care of our personal health as well, traveling a little bit, and then looking for investments. So hopefully, that's what we'll get to. Nonetheless, like, our goal is to aim for that direction. Like if we don't get there, that's okay. Like as long as we know where we're going, I think it's gonna help us, funnel our decision and our process. I did add like a portion for clients in here. These are just a bunch of fake clients, but we're gonna move them, you know, uh, through the process on this doc. So once they become a client and once they sign up to be a client of ours, either a seller or a buyer, we will put them on this list and we will track them where they're at. So are they in prospecting? Are they under contract? Are they closed? We'll track them on here. This is a bit of a Kanban view. I'm not sure if you ever used it, but it's easy because we can move them through this system and this Kanban. So they're prospecting. We do want to move all prospect over to under contract, and then once they're under contract, obviously the next step is they're going to move into close, right? So we so like this gives us a view of like, hey, where should we spend our time? Like for example, like, hey, I got a couple people under contract, like they're probably going to clear out in the next week. I need to move a lot of these prospecting clients over to under contract. So I think right now I don't have to spend a lot of time on these clients that are under contract. I'm going to spend, my next 10, 20 hours on these clients.
Nice.
I've been tracking all of the expenses, and this is a good way to track it. So we got fees, we got the amounts, we got when they're due and when they're paid. We got a couple things that are due in January as well. I think this is a big chunk of it, this annual membership. So I have it due on the 31st. We haven't paid it yet, but we'll pay it. So whoever is going to work on this doc or really just work on this business will really see all the expenses that has come through and also any expenses that might be coming up. And if we do go into planning phase, I think this is a good tool to really plan for the future, to be like, hey, when it comes to budgeting, this is what we need to budget per year. And can we cut any expenses? Can we increase some, expenses that will really lead us into like a better situation? Like that's up to us. But I think this is a good tool to kind of help identify that. Team directory. I thought this is a cool tool, and I did include you as well. You are included as my board of director. So besides that, I have a couple people here. I'll be adding more and more as I add additional resources. They're not technically the working for the business, but they're definitely a contributor to the business. And so I do add them in here. Not only just the fact that I know like, hey, who can I reach out for certain needs, right? But also can have their information ready in hand for both myself and for clients as well. I'll show you like mine, for example. And this is nice when you start creating it because you can add all of these, they call it properties, and then you can have information about each of the property. So for example, just basic, right? When this person joined, what their LinkedIn is, their email address, phone number, and then so on. So I have it all in here and it's going to be consistent across everyone. So if I click on any single one of the profiles, they're all going to have these fields, and whether I fill it out or not, it's up to me. But this is a good way for me to track and, find everyone's information very quickly. A little bit of just, more information about my credentials and information. I just have it in here. It's easy to find. It's easy. If I need to copy and paste it to somewhere, like I can go in here and find it very quickly. And so like some information about me that I wrote, and then some goals as well. So 2024 focus, apparently, after taking a test, is money, power, gratitude, and health. So that'll be interesting. You can switch this up if you needed to change it up for this view, this table view, like this is a good way to like change everything really quickly, right? For everyone. So instead of clicking into everyone's profile, you can just go straight here. You can just update it all.
Flexible.
Very flexible. And then you can change. Oh, the flexible thumb guy. Yes. Oh no, that's
Oh, okay. Now I understand what you meant by literally, physically. I have a flexible thumb.
yes. And funny thing is, I forgot that Ivan is a spiritual guru. So that's what he's known as right now. Until I find something new about him. All right, but yeah, just very easy. Just every information in here if need be. I'm gonna add people, for example, like contractors. I'm gonna add loan officers. I'm gonna add title agents. I'm gonna have all of them ready in here for myself and for anyone that's really, putting time into this business as resources.
Nice.
Public profiles. I have all of the public profiles, and I'll probably change this view up to be something easier to see. But I needed a place to track all of the public profiles. Once again, like I'm an employee of this business, right? So like I'm coming into this business, I need to know like what this business has if I need to do anything with it, like make changes or at least know that they exist. But yeah, all the profiles are in here, and they're all linked in here. And yeah, anyone that's part of this business can see everything publicly out there for this business. As mentioned like earlier, I have this agent resource directory. It's just information, like just more like bookmarks to various tools that we use. So need be just use this section. The investor relation section hasn't been really built out yet. However, that like thought of it is just going to be the same as any major companies out there. They're going to be speaking to their board of directors and presenting to them, and really clients if need be too. But it's a good place to take a look at the year and figure out like, hey, where you are, where you're trying to go, and what you're going to be doing to get there. But this section will have those information. And my thought on this is I'm going to include just year over year information. So that way I can go back and take a look at like, hey, in 2023, like what was I focusing on and like, how did we do there? And then like in 2024, like what were we focusing on and like how did things go? Right. So slowly building this out, but this is kind of the base template that they had. I don't know if I'll use it, but it's just a starting point. I tracked every single meeting that I had in relations to the business, and so I tracked it all. And you have this sum tool at the bottom. So far, I spent 3,255, minutes in meetings, either for like the team or even course meetings or just anything related to Oregon is how I categorize it so far. But yeah, just a great tool. And if you wanted to once again kind of take a look at different views, we have a couple views that are already pre-built, so you can try it out. And I'll click through them so you can see. So even that you have this view: course, cult meetings, Oregon, and right this one I just have TBD. You have a calendar view if you wanted to see like how busy you've been and like where you've been spending your time. Like in this case, obviously Wednesday's super packed, Thursday super packed, Tuesday very open, Friday very open as well as the weekend. I think for me, like as I move forward, like a lot of these meetings will be with clients, so I'll track that in here, and then I can then later at the end of the year maybe tally it up and get some fields to get an understanding of like where I've been spending my time or which month is busy, what month is not, and then figure out like, hey, do I need to reallocate time and energy somewhere else? All right. So actually, before I go to task, let me show you the project view. All right, let me hide these. So this is kind of the project view. I have, like I talked about it at the beginning, is the first step that needs to be done is setting up the business, which I put it under more so of admin setup. And I have 95% or not 95, 91.5% done. And before really that admin task, we have like a real estate licensing task or a project that we really needed to complete. So like we do have that here as well. So, if you ever needed, it's just a good way to set it up where you have project after project, right? It's just like a project tracker. And within each project, you're going to have a bunch of tasks, right? So, like I needed first thing is getting that licensing. So doing the licensing here, like what was that all about? And just if every information that I have about it can go in here. Um, so that was that. And then like the next one is this admin task that I'm like currently going through. And then I like added in another project to do contracts training. And then from there, my thought process is like, hey, I have to do this lead generation phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. And so like that hasn't started yet, but you can kind of see at least, there's like percentages and stuff tied to it. But if you needed, for example, to look at it as a different view, just like the other tools, you got timeline views. This is where like the real estate licensing started, and then leading all the way up to this is when like admin setup stuff started, the contracts training, and then this is when we were thinking about like doing this, but like we'll move it over a little bit. But like at least it gives you like a visual of what it looks like, right? And then same thing with this right here, this like Kanban view of, hey, like I got a lot of things going on right now, right? Do I want to start like another project and move it into in progress, or do I want to finish this before I move forward? So, all right. So like each of the projects come with a bunch of tasks, right? So like where did you find like those percentages, for example, of is 100% completed for real estate licensing? So you go on the task and you start the project, and then under the project you have the task that you created. So let me zoom this out a bit. So like for me, this is what went into the licensing process. So like you have to go through 150 hours of coursework, and then for me, I track approximately how much time was spent. I would say actually this is the baseline of how much time you need to spend for each of these courses, but I definitely spent more time. So it's all up to you and how much you spend time in there. But just a baseline of like how much I would say at the bare minimum you spent on this. So that's what that is, and then kind of tracking the exams, and then like for me, I had to do some retakes. So yeah, just kind of tracking that. So the next part that I had was like admin setup. So like all of the tasks that were done, interviews or creating accounts, setting up really anything like profiles and setting up accounts, all in here. So I kind of tracked everything and then how much time approximately it took. So like in this, it looks like 59 total tasks. We completed 54, and the first task to the current task ranges 1.3 years apart. And then we spent a total of 3,655 minutes so far on it. So very good way to really track where you are and what needs to be done. For me, sometimes I just go in here and I'll be like, oh, cool. Like I need to complete this GoPrint account setup. So I go in and set it up. And then once I'm done, I check about the time that it took, and then I set it to complete. And if you can think about it from like a business perspective, that a lot of these tasks can really be alleviated and delegated to someone else, right? So for example, we have like say Instagram, right? Like in the future, like for lead generation, we're gonna have this task to create content and upload contents and respond to contacts. So like, do we really want to do that ourselves? Can we really do that? So like when we have it in this kind of format, it's easiest for us to see like, hey, within this business, we have a lot of things we need to do. We have to handle like Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, LinkedIn, right? Someone KV Core. and someone that has to go out there and really speak to clients. So once we identify all of it, it's a lot easier for us to go in here and be like, okay, like I don't want to assign everything to Vince right now. Yeah, like I don't have the resources or the personnel or the process built in place already for me to hire someone and train them on what needs to be done. So right now, like I'm having to do it myself. But like for the good of this business and for growth, we're gonna have to delegate a lot of these tasks to someone else. Like we don't want to spend this amount of time, right? 3,655 minutes every single year or every single couple of months to do these tasks because they're not the tasks that generates they're tasks that's needed, but they're not like if I spend all my time on this one, I can't spend time on talking to clients, right? At the end of the day, like we need to really reallocate my time here to talking with clients because that like I have limited time and like that's the that like we need to pretty much get a client from start to finish, which is like they're gonna start their journey to looking for houses or selling their house all the way to closing. And like to do that for us as a business is we have to do all of these tasks. And one person can't do it alone. At least to do it well. So that's my thought process on this one. Once I track it, I see where my time is being spent. And once again, at the end of the year, I can take a look at it and I can give a big rundown or a high level rundown to, my board or whoever I'm speaking to. That like I have to show that I'm accountable for this business and say like, hey, this is what I've been doing. This is where I've been spending our time. And, this is what we need to do to achieve really the goal that we need to. So let me minimize that. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions while we go through it.
I'm fine.
So yeah, this contract training, I definitely want to add a little bit more training, but I spent 270 minutes to do it, along with some meetings with Mike as well. And so yeah, that's where we're at with it. But if we can really just do more later, but maybe I should just change this to contract training phase 1, and then maybe later I might do a phase 2. So lead generation, there's a couple of items that I thought about. So realistically for me, anything that I think about, I just go on here and say like, okay, like I want to do this, and I think like the big part of it later is kind of thinking in the terms of resources. In my case, is time, right? And possibly how much do I want to allocate to the business. So like if I don't have time, then I'm gonna have to delegate these tasks to someone else, right? And like that in itself is like a project. So just having this is just a good way to see it at a high level, so that I'm not running in circles. But yeah, that's a little bit of where I am with Notion and what I've built with Notion for my business. And I don't know if that like gives you some good ideas about what you can use Notion for.
Oh, I do. I think this is actually a pretty neat software. Definitely good for people who like to record and document things and to keep metrics, to give you that overview look. Especially like if you are running a business and this is you got employees and stuff and you want to keep track of what's going on. And it's kind of like a one shop place for all you to dump all your stuff in here.
And I think like the other thing to note is that this is like a personal assistant. So think of it like when you are like an executive and you're like, hey, I have all this information. So we have all this information in Notion that we're looking at, right? Hey, like I need you to go through it and I need you to see like where I am spending most of my time in. So in Notion, you have AI built into it and you can ask AI exactly that. Hey, take a look at the table above or the project above. Where like what am I like where am I spending most of my time? And then it will do it for you for free. So or at least free for up to a certain amount. And if you're like obviously interested in using it unlimited wise, you can pay $10 a month. But that's a business decision, right? Yeah, that's kind of about it on like where I am so far. Hopefully, the next time I'll build it out a little bit more. But yeah, this is where I'm at.
Really cool.
Yeah. Any final questions? Any final feedback?
No, I think it's pretty great. I think I was a little lost in the beginning because I didn't really have any idea what Notion was. So at first I was kind of like, okay, what exactly is this thing? I had a vague idea what it was, but I just conceptually didn't understand what it was. So maybe at the beginning, give me some sort of general overview. What exactly is Notion and why it's helpful and why you think everybody should use it? Just, yeah, almost kind of a little bit of like a sales pitch kind of thing. This thing is fantastic. This is very helpful for people who might want this, need help with this, and it can do this and something like that, so I can understand what exactly is this thing. I mean, I have zero, literally, I'm coming in with a blank slate, absolutely no idea what Notion is. So it might have to dummy it down a lot for people who are not technically savvy.
Thanks for that feedback. I'll make sure to implement that for any conversations in the future about it.
And then KV Core. Okay, I didn't really quite get what KV Core was, in the context that you were just kind of talking about it. So I'm like, okay, KV Core, what exactly is it? You said it a couple times. I'm like, I don't really know what that is. And you're saying you want to get everybody to use KV Core. So is it an app? Is it a section of the real estate business? Is it for realtors? I had no idea what it was. And then CRM, I had no idea what that was. It was an acronym, so I don't know what that was. So yeah, obviously I didn't really need to know that per se to understand what Notion is about. But if you were trying to explain to me your personal real estate journey here and what is that, I would need to have a little more context of what those two items were.
Those are good feedback. I appreciate that.
And what I really liked was the clients layout area. I thought that was super cool. Just having all your team members and all the people that you're working with on this. I also really like the expenses section, keeping all these metrics and tabulations so you can really see from a bird's eye view exactly what's happening. And I think that's what Notion is really great at, is kind of giving you those type of data. And I did also like the percentages of like completion, the allocation stuff. I thought that was kind of cool too, that it can do that. And then of course the AI feature, which is really cool, which definitely I gotta learn how to take more advantage of those kind of services and try to find ways to make your life a lot more streamlined and efficient.
Yeah, like I hope it does get better. This idea of having a personal assistant is just a dream, right? We all like grow up and see the executive, and they all have executive assistants, and that can do various tasks like, hey, set up an appointment, or like, hey, make this call, hey, calculate this for me. So I'm excited to use it on my own, and I'm glad that you see value in it as well.
I guess I'm trying to now understand it. If you're seeing this Notion is as a executive assistant, how much of this information do you have to manually put into this system? Like you have to go into this on your computer, log in all this information on your own. And you got to do this manually. Right? How much of it can you utilize AI to do any of that stuff for you, to enter new data?
Yeah, that's a great topic, and that's something that I'll explore on my own here as we proceed forward. But I can definitely see once the AI gets a lot better, you can talk to AI and you can ask it to do particular things like you would Siri. You could be like, hey, add a meeting with Julie on December 31st at 2 p.m. And then it will go in the doc, it will add it for you. And then you can just say like, hey, notes for that meeting, this. and then tell it to summarize it for you.
Yeah,
I
I
can see
think
that.
to get to that point, if AI can get to that point where you're not spending time having to manually enter all this data, then it's really like a true assistant. You know, right now you're kind of doing the heavy load in a way still.
Yeah, I would say the assistant level right now is more on tasks such as like, hey, summarize these notes for me, calculate this information for me, create a table for me, or create a quick tracker for me, and then just kind of the basic. Like, hey, like where am I spending most of my meetings? So a little bit of the, let's say like the grunt manual work, right? Um, like an analyst position so far.
And I think that's going to be so challenging for AI because everybody communicates differently and everybody has their own idea or vision in their head what they want a table, let's say, to look like. But unless you are able to express it clearly enough for AI to understand, they might probably get it wrong 5 times before you're like, okay, no, I need to like refine the way I tell AI. And sometimes it just might end up being faster. You just do it yourself.
Yeah. Like in AI, there's like it's interesting because this is becoming like a topic and also like a position too. It's called like a prompter. Like how good are you at prompting writing? Where like telling AI what you want. So it's very surprising. It's a very complicated task apparently, right? But it kind of makes sense even in the human world where for us to get the like what we're looking for. So even if you're asking your executive or you're asking like an analyst or someone that's working for you to create a particular item, like you have to be very clear in what you're asking, right? So yeah, this is a very interesting topic, but yeah, there's the like prompting is a thing with AI here.
I mean, I think it's actually really good practice for us humans to use this opportunity to refine the way that we communicate and explain things about what is it that we're thinking of on the inside because I think we're just are not good communicators for the most part and to just break down thought by thought and detail by detail. And I think having to actually work with AI, if you choose to work with AI, that's something you kind of have to learn to build up on your skill set to do if you actually want AI to help you.
Yeah, I agree. It could be a tool for you to really track yourself and track where you are. I actually been using AI a lot for note taking. So I would take a bunch of notes, right? So it would be all jumbo notes. It's just like, oh, like talk about, real estate, talked about, like for example, like what we just talked about, like everything that we talked about. Um, I can ask AI to summarize that, right? So then I can be like, okay, let me analyze my own thoughts, right? So even like the sentences that I'm saying right now for the past 30 seconds, I can dump it in there and be like, hey, help me analyze this information. Like what word did I use the most? So kind of starting to do that. And it's a good way. I can definitely see like where you're going with that.
I think it's great for people who are very analytical because they generally think before they speak.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I think their success rate for actually getting AI to do the right outcome for what they want is probably going to be a lot higher than those who just don't have as much of a contextual, way of communicating.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure like, hey, like I really appreciate your time. I know we've been running quite a bit of time into this already, but it's been great really having this opportunity to present to you my business and also a Notion tool as well and hearing your feedback and hearing like your thoughts on this and AI as well. I know there's a lot of topics that came up during this conversation that, obviously we can dig in more. But I'm very happy and glad that you found, a lot of the topics to be something that could be of help to you. So I
I
appreciate it.
think it's great, great informational session, and thank you for spending the time to share it with me. I definitely learned a lot.
Yeah. Last piece, maybe last question for you is what would you like to see, in 2024 from this?
What I want it to be smart enough that I don't have to actually manually put in the data.
Oh, sorry. Let me be a little bit more specific. What would you like to see that I built? Like, what would you like to see there?
In Notion?
Like, what kind of improvement would you like to see?
Wait, in what context? Improvement where?
Just in a sense, like, hey, you have this business and Notion, right? Like, I want to see you build, I want you to build a tracker. I want to show me how you, I don't know, be creative there. It's a tough question.
I mean, I mean, the setup is fantastic. I mean, you got everything all organized and ready to go, and it looks like you're already well on your way to start the new year off. With lead generation, you got your all set, and now it's just a matter of generating those leads and getting out there, meeting with prospective clients.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
you got
thank you.
everything set up so organized. I mean, geez, like like I don't know how you could improve upon this right now.
Well, I'll take that feedback. I appreciate that. I try my best. I'll try to improve from here. But all right.
You
Well,
definitely did a lot of work on it. So great.
thank you. All right. Well, once again, just thanks for your time. And yeah, I hope we can talk about it a little bit more in the future. But for now, I really appreciate the time so far.
I'm sure it'll look a lot more you know, in depth and improved in 3 months' time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That wraps up this presentation on Notion. Thanks everyone for tuning in and watching this video till the end. If you did make it to the end, once again, if you like the content, make sure you like and subscribe and help me get to 100 viewers. That'd be great. But yeah, check you guys later. Thank you. Take care.